Hello, welcome back to Open Your Eye podcast. Y'all, this episode is most definitely going to be a shorter episode because I am recording this at 9:30 at night. It's already 30 minutes past my bedtime, okay? And I work my 24-hour shift tomorrow. This week is another week that has gotten away from me. Mostly because I have big plans for this weekend. So everything that I had, originally had a whole week to get done, I had to get done in a very short amount of time, including my Valentine's Day launch for my nails, recording this podcast, and some other things. My birthday just passed, this past Monday. When y'all will be listening to this, it will be Friday. And I will be on my way to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So not only was my birthday great, I actually worked on my birthday, but I got my very first surprise birthday party from my shift. They surprised me with like a cake and balloons and presents and everything, and I got treated to dinner, so that was great. And then this weekend I'm going to be going to New Orleans for the very first time, and going during Mardi Gras for the first time. So just big things happening. So this episode is going to be short, but this is the long anticipated like clearing your space, all that type of topic that we're talking about today. So I guess what I really wanted to talk about is just feeling comfortable in your space and making your home basically your sanctuary. And in order to do that, it takes getting rid of a lot of clutter. And I'm of the opinion that when you get rid of clutter in the physical sense, you get rid of clutter in the emotional, mental sense as well. So how all this started, I lived in my hometown since I was 18, moved up here for college. I brought with me, all my clothes and like knickknacks and things like that. And then, I moved out of my college dorms and I got my first, house with, renting it out with roommates. And I brought all those trinkets and all those clothes with me to that house. And then when I moved on, to my own apartment, by myself, I brought all those trinkets and, I just kept over the period of time of me like going from place to place, house to apartment to house, like I kept collecting things and I kept getting more things because I felt like when I moved to another place, I needed new, basically everything. And so that just added more stuff. Okay. Well, one day I saw this documentary on Netflix called Minimalism. And before you stop the podcast and just tune out, hear me out. I really enjoyed the concept of minimalism. Basically, the fact that we as humans tend to distract ourselves with stuff. It doesn't have to be like in the physical sense, but maybe, distracting ourselves with social media or video games or what have you, but some people's outlets, actually almost all of our outlets, we like to buy things, especially with everything being so instant. Everything is like, instant gratification galore. And so in that, we accumulate all of this stuff that is really not doing anything to make us feel better. It might make us feel better in that moment, but what is it really doing to solve whatever we're trying to distract ourselves from, right? So after watching this documentary, I looked around and it just clicked. I was like, I always feel stressed that, I have trouble closing my drawers because my drawers are overfilling. There's no room in my closets. My closet is a mess. I can never keep it clean and organized. And just things like that. I have stuff, in suitcases and, piles of, like, that I'm not really doing anything with. And I'm sure some of y'all are like me, where I would hold on to certain things because they had some sentimental value to me. Like, oh, I would keep my prom dress because I wore that dress to prom, even though I knew damn well I couldn't fit into it. Like, but it just collected dust in my closet for what? So after watching that documentary, I purged my entire closet, my drawers, everything. And I got rid of almost half of everything that I had. And I did that by asking myself a simple question. This is for specifically clothes and shoes. I would pick up an article of clothing, disregarding any sentimental value that I've placed on it. Not thinking about that, I asked a simple question. I asked myself this question. If I saw this in the store today, would I buy it? Yes or no? And if the answer was yes, I kept it. If the answer was no, it went in the donation pile. That simple, right? And so with that came a chain of events, okay? So because I had gotten rid of half of my clutter, I now had space for it to be organized, first of all. I could finally close my drawers and my closet didn't look like a hurricane hit it. But also it left room for the possibility, if I found something at the store that brought me joy, that was actually my style, not shirts, t-shirts, and clothes that I had in high school that barely fit me and didn't really speak to my style or who I was at that current moment anymore, So that's the first thing. When you get rid of clutter, when you get rid of things that aren't serving you, you open space for better. You open space for things that are more suited for you in your current time, right? And so I didn't stop there. I went through my kitchen cabinets. I went all the way down to my spices, going through and just getting rid of all the stuff that old, expired, just all of that. It's crazy how much we hold on to, and it's not always intentional, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the store and I went in the spices aisle and I was like, you know what? I think I'm out of, I don't know, oregano. And I get back to the house and I realize that I already bought oregano last week when I went to the store, So just things like that, innocent mistakes, but at the end of the day, it still adds up. You know what I mean? And so without kind of meaning to, I adopted this kind of minimalistic mindset, not in the entirety that I think it's meant to, be adopted. I still have my moments where I enjoy retail therapy or, I'll buy things on Amazon almost on the daily. But now I feel like I'm a little bit more mindful with what I buy. And also, not really, I feel like I'm not as attached to things anymore. I don't try to put sentimental value on things, right? And so that was kind of the first step. That's kind of where all of this, you know, grew from, right? Was just the basis that I needed to get rid of things that didn't serve me anymore, things that I didn't wear, I didn't even like anymore, and I needed to fill my cup, or, you know, replace it, you know, or I could have chosen not to replace it, but you get what I mean. Replace it with things that served me, right? That brought me joy. Now, this ties into, you know, making your home your sanctuary, in the sense that I don't know if anybody else can relate, but usually when I would move into a new place, I would fill it with furniture and decor items that I felt like were my style, but ended up really just being a hodgepodge of just random shit that matched, but it was never really me. You know what I mean? And so after this breakup, and I know y'all are getting so sick and tired of me here talking about my breakup. Anyway, after this breakup, well, actually, after any breakup, really, where someone has been in my home and slept in my bed and, you know, was in my energy, my house, my sanctuary, I have this, like, deep-seated need to just redo my whole, like, the whole space, right? And after this last breakup, I really took it upon myself to say, I'm finally going to create the sanctuary and the space that I have always wanted. So for me personally, I'm going to talk about just my room for the time being. I have always wanted my room to feel like I was walking into a hotel room every single day. Like it was a treat to walk into my bedroom. Like I want it to feel relaxed. I want it to feel like, you know, this was my home away from home kind of feel. Like I want it to feel luxurious, you know? And so I just said, you know, and especially I think what held me back was the fact that I don't own this home. You know, I rent it. So I'm like, you know, what's the point of, you know, making this my style if this isn't where I'm going to land, you know, in long term. But at the end of the day, and I think it was because during medic school and the past year, I craved so much for my home to feel like a relief when I walked in. You know, like I spent so much time away from home, so much time on the ambulance, so much time in class, so much time at work, that I craved the feeling of walking into my home and it being exactly what I wanted and what I wanted it to look like. And so I did. And I started small. I was like, okay, I will start with my bedroom. Not everything has to be the way that I want it. I can, you know, make changes as time goes on, but I want, you know, this is the room that me and my ex spent the most time together, and everything reminds me of him. So I'm starting here so I can like just have a clean slate and I can feel safe and secure in my room, right? And so when I did that, it's amazing what it did to, one, my mental health, but also like I wanted to be better to match the energy of my room, if that makes sense. Like in the sense of I wanted to create, so I felt like my room was luxurious. I felt like I was walking into a hotel. So I felt like I almost had to make bedtime like a like a ritual. Like, and that was the first step. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't sitting in my bed all day like I had been before. Like, my bedroom is specifically for sleeping. And so if I'm home all day on my off days, I'll go out to the living room and watch TV. Whereas before I didn't do that. I would just sit in my bed and watch TV. But now that I have this luxurious bedroom to walk into, at the end of the day, it's a treat to walk into it. So then that went with, creating bedroom routines. Like, I will take a shower, I will put on, some good smelling lotion, and I will crawl into bed and I will journal and I will read and, drink wine or whatever. Like, it's an experience, right? And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't make the effort to, one, clear my space so that I had the room to, create the vision that I had, but also stick with the mindset of, I want this to be a place where I feel safe, right? And so that's basically my story of how clearing clutter in your physical element helps clear clutter in mental and physical as well. And I will die on that hill. I firmly believe that, like, when you reduce the clutter around you physically, it does wonders for you internally. So, like I said, I apologize that this one was a little bit shorter, but I hope that something that I said in there, spoke to somebody, and y'all keep me updated if you, like, purge your closets like I did, or like redo your bedroom. Like, keep me updated, slide into my DMs. You can find me on Instagram at AIR_WREN. And yeah, I will talk to y'all next week after I get back from New Orleans. Until we meet again. Namaste.